Hello everyone, and welcome back to Sarah's Stitch. I know it's been ages and ages since I filmed, so Happy New Year, happy practically February. It's January 28th when I'm filming this, so probably by the time it's posted, it will be almost February, if not already February. So I hope everyone's 2024s are off to a good start. I hope you all had lovely holidays. And for those of you who are new, my name is Sarah. I am an accountant by day, knitter by every other hour of the day, and I live in Hoboken, New Jersey, which is right across the river from New York City. I work in New York City, live here. So if you hear traffic noises, that is why, because it's a rainy day, so there shouldn't be too much traffic out there. But if there's horns honking, that will be why. And this is my podcast here on YouTube where I can talk to all of you about my finished objects, works in progress, acquisitions, which there are a lot of today, and all that good stuff involving knitting. So let's get started with what I'm wearing. So I've shown this before, but this is my, what is it called? Sela sweater by Johanna Haitala. It was in Lina. It was either in Lina or potentially not, but it's the editor of Lina that is the designer. And this was actually a charity pattern. It's very similar to the, what the heck is that called? What the hell is that pattern called? Lento. It's very similar to the Lento. It's just slightly, it's meant for boucle yarn. So, or not boucle. The pattern was written for a Sandisgarn Kos, I think, or alpaca wool Kos, I think. So it's meant for like a more textured yarn, and I knit this out of Explorer Knits and Fibers Tawny, and the main body is boucle. I hope it's focusing. And then all of the ribbing, it's probably easier to show on my wrist, is just non-superwash in the same color. So it's fun. She's doing her update today for the monochrome collection, and I feel like this would be such a good sweater to make out of the monochromes, like do one in the boucle, one in like the coordinating color in the ribbing. I think would be gorgeous. I think she just sample made out of those too well. But that is what I'm wearing. All of the information for this should be on my Ravelry, and I should say all of the information for everything I'm going to talk about should be on my Ravelry. So if I'm missing any information, please do let me know. Either message me here or on Instagram, which will always be linked below, and I will get you hopefully whatever information you need. So that's what I'm wearing. And let's start with finished objects. I have some of them. I don't have all of them. I also can't remember what exactly was a work in progress versus a finished object last time I filmed because it's been that long. So I'm just gonna go through what I have here and then do a quick update on the other things that I am pretty sure were works in progress last time. So the first thing I'm going to show, which I have half of, I don't have half of it, is my Freckled Whimsy 2023 Advent socks. So this is them. This is the fingering weight version. And for the contrast, I just used But First Coffee from Woolberry. It's the same color I made my Oslo hat out of, and I had some leftovers, so I used the brown because I got a fingering skein and a DK skein. I made the DK skein for my mom, so I don't have those. But when I got the DK, I ordered it with a 50-gram DK contrast color to do heels, toes, and cuffs for her, and it was brown, a very, very similar brown to this. So it was right when I had finished my Oslo hat, so I figured I've got a lot of brown laying around and just make us matching socks. Mine will just be fingering weight and hers will be DK. So hers look exactly the same except the stripes go in the opposite direction because I started them at different times and I didn't pay attention to how I was winding the cakes. So, but yes, so I have technically two pairs of finished socks, which not bad. And yeah, I did, for both my mom's and mine, I did a modified version of the vanilla latte sock, so I don't know if it's not available on Ravelry or if it is, but it's essentially just a broken 7x1 rib. And then on the foot, just because the stitches didn't line up perfectly, or like stitch count didn't line up perfectly with the divisor of 7, I just did, I think 5 or 6 knit stitches and then started the pattern again on the top of the foot. And obviously the bottom of the foot is just stockinette. And I did a heel flap and gusset slip stitch and umbrella toe from K. Jones. I don't know if that'll pop up with how dark it is, but it's an umbrella toe. So, and 64 stitches. I don't know if I said that. And my mom's were 2x1 ribbing at the top, which is what these were. Hers were 42 stitches because I needed divisible by 7. And then I just put the pattern on the top of the foot wherever I could, so it wouldn't like be purl right on the edge and then nothing on the other side. That bothers me a lot when patterns do that, so I'd rather just have it like equally spaced on the top of the foot, or if it goes like a few stitches onto the like bottom instep soles, like oh, I can't get my foot that high. If it goes this like a little bit into like this part of the foot, I don't really care, but when it's like a drastic here, wait, let's see. Yeah, it just bothers me. That's all I'm gonna say. So that is these. I don't think I have to say anything else about them. I finished my mom's before Christmas. I finished mine after Christmas because I was doing other things and I didn't knit nearly as much as I thought I was going to while we were away. So those are done. And then my only other finished object that I have with me, because I've been a bit chaotic in the casting on, is this. So I made a hot water bottle cover my face. So this is, there's also a hot water bottle in it at the moment, but I didn't follow a pattern for this. I just cast on I think 80 stitches, maybe 70 stitches on the bottom, and I didn't have needles that were long enough to do a provisional or a Judy's Magic cast on, so I literally just did long tail cast on and then sewed it down the middle because I don't really care that much. I think I increased 5 stitches on either side to account for the curve. Just knit straight up and then did a lot of decreases very quickly at the top and then did 2x2 ribbing. So the water bottle does come out of this. It's not the prettiest to get it out, but it comes out, and this is knit out of a Homespun House soft sock in the color Unicorn Dust and either Rose Gold or Nurture Mohair. I can't remember, and I forgot to save the tag, but I got it ages ago, like 2 years ago at least, when Molly was doing like a mystery combo of mohair and a single speckle. So I had said I wanted to make like an Oslo hat or something. Obviously I did not make an Oslo hat, but and I held the fingering double. So it's technically a DK plus mohair. So this is how it turned out. I love it. I think it's so fun, and like, it's perfect because it like is never gonna show dirt, but also like it's so fuzzy. It's so warm, and like I put scalding hot water in the water bottle, so I needed a little bit of feet protection. But what else? Oh, and I did this all on 4mm needles, and then I did the ribbing in 3.5mm needles. So that is it. And those are the only finished objects I have with me. I think last time I filmed, I was still working on my dad's Marius, or maybe had just finished it, but that's finished. He wore it just about every other day when we were away, so that was very sweet of him. But yes, so I think that is it for finished objects, so we can go into whips. And I will forewarn everyone here, there's a lot. And I think a lot of it's new. So let's get started with half finished objects. So, okay, oh gosh. This is all like stacked up. Oh God, I'm gonna shake this every time. Let's see if I can fix that. Nope. Nope. I think that's even. Okay. So first half finished object is, we'll do by order of completion, is my Cozy Knitter Advent socks from this year. I only made one so far, but this is how we're looking. And I'm sure everyone at this point has seen the Cozy Knitter Advent sock for this year. It was a rainbow gradient rather than mix and match stripes. I like the change of pace. However, I like the mix and match stripes better, I think, especially because I don't know if she said it was going to be gradient or not, but I don't know if you can tell, but you can kind of tell in the blues here, but for some of the colors, especially like the first few, it was really difficult to tell in person when the color was changing, probably because I was knitting this at night. But I wanted to do something slightly different than just plain stockinette, so I did slip one every 4 stitches on the first round of a new color. But for a lot of the colors, especially like the blues and greens, and even like some of the like the pinks, it was a little difficult to tell too when the new colors started. So I think it would have been a little bit better if I had done that on the freckled whimsy, which I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't. Just to see the change in colors, but oh well. So I still have to do the other one of these. I just did 64 stitches, 2x2 ribbing, and the contrast I used, I don't know if it's gonna get picked up, but it is technically sparkle, and I just got it from the Cozy Knitter too with the Advent skein. It might be easier to see down here. I don't know if that'll pop up, but it is sparkle. So one is done, one still needs to be cast on. Whoopsies. But that is this. And then the next half finished object I have is also partially an acquisition. When we were in kids school, they have a yarn shop there, which was amazing because now I think all of our requirements for family trips is that there must be a yarn shop there. So my mom can buy sweater yarn and I can buy yarn for myself. But I got a skein of Regia 8-ply, I think it's called the Nordic palette, and this color is Log Cabin. So it's a DK sock, and I just made the Sunday socks with this. So this is how they look. Hold them back here. They're very long, like super, super long. And they're a little too big / baggy. So I'm debating if I want to dry them or if they're just gonna be like slouchy house socks, because I think they would look so cute, like scrunched down like that with a pair of like black leggings, just like walking around the house, or even, I don't have them, but like the mini Uggs or like the Tasman Uggs, I think they'd be so cute. But these are them, one sock so far. I did the 44 stitch size for the Sunday socks because I made them with 3.5mm needles rather than 4, which is what the pattern calls for. And I think they're a tad too long. Like this is the end of my sock blocker and there's a little bit left. So I think I'm gonna pull this out and take off like 3 or 4 rows before I start the second one, just to get the length a little bit better, because I can deal with slouchy on my leg. I don't think I want like baggy on my foot too. That seems a tad annoying, but this is them. This is my first time making Sunday socks. It's a really straightforward pattern, very beginner friendly. The heel flap is just plain stockinette, which I don't think I guess I have on Inga's socks, but it's just plain flat stockinette, which was kind of nice to not have to like worry about purling, like the slip stitch pattern. And I'm very happy with how the heel worked out on this one, that almost the whole heel is this turquoise and white marl, and then the stripes aren't really that interrupted. I don't care enough to have particular super matching stripes, so that's probably not going to be the case for the second sock, but I'm just going to pick it up wherever this one ends, which I think actually it starts, I think it ends like right around here, this orange section. So it's going to be like half a block off. So maybe I'll pull it out and start like halfway through the stitch pattern just so they're fully opposite. And this skein of yarn was 150 grams, so more than enough for a pair of socks, which is why I did Sunday socks, because I felt like I could use up most of the yarn. And my mom also got a skein of this, which I don't have in my possession. I have to get from her eventually to make her a pair of socks as well. And she got like a blues and gray color pattern. But yeah, I think that's it on these. And then next in the sock, I'll just keep with the socks since I have the sock blocker in my hand, is these socks, which these are not half finished. This is the first sock still. But I really need to learn my lesson with Christmas socks, because I always cast them on, and then if I don't finish them during Christmas time, I'm like the least motivated person in the world to work on them, because it's no longer Christmas time. But I really should work on these because I think these are going to be super comfy and cozy. These are a homespun house. It is Molly's woolly sock base, which is was new in 2023, which is non-superwash merino and nylon. So it's like a Regia sock base, but spun for her in Germany. And the color is, I think, Farmhouse Christmas. And the contrast is juniper. So this is them. And the pattern I used is Summerly Knits her Guernsey socks, which are in the Hello Sailor sock set pattern thing. And it is, I don't know if you can see this. There is a cable that goes down both sides, and then there's, I'll just show you that here, one row of garter bumps every 5 rows. So every time there's a cable, there's a garter bump. And I don't know, you probably can see it a little bit easier on the sock, but the first half of the skein, I was pulling from, I guess, the outside of the ball. And then I was working on a pattern that I wasn't loving, I think. I can't remember which pattern I was doing, but I was doing something and I didn't love it. And then I wound up rewinding the ball and then pulling from the middle. So the middle was a lot more speckled than the end. So there's a pretty distinct line of where it changes. Like you can definitely see it right there. Like it goes like a little bit lighter and less speckled to darker and more speckled, which I don't really care because they're socks, but it's just funny to see like how much skeins of yarn can differ from like the outside of a ball versus the inside of a ball. And I'm doing the like 64-ish size. I assume it's 64 stitches. And I don't know if this was in the pattern, but I just did 1 by 1 rib. And I did 2 rounds of contrast at the top, which this is not part of the pattern. I think the pattern is for main color cuff all the way through, but I had a 20 gram up there. So the sock set was both of these together. So I wanted to make sure I used as much of or all of the juniper that I could. So that is why I did a little tiny accent on the top, a la Kay from Crazy Sock Lady. And yeah, I have, I think, about 4 or 5 more repeats. So like 15 more rows until I do the toe, and then I will be on the second one. But I honestly have not picked these up in a while because they're not like super, like you don't really have to pay attention for 4 rows, but then the 5th row you have to do a lot because you have to do the cables and the purling. But now that I'm on the foot, it's not as much purling, obviously, because I'm not purling on the bottom of the foot. I'm just purling, this may be a good way to show the speckles. I'm just purling on the top of the foot, so that's nicer, but there's the whole stitch repeat. So cables, and then it's maybe a little faint to see on the camera, but 1 row of garter. And yeah, so that is it for the socks. For now, I'm sure there will be more. Maybe I'll finish some eventually at some point in my life, but I just get, like, I love socks, and I don't think I have second sock syndrome, because it's not that I don't want to make the second sock, it's that I want to knit all of the pretty yarns all the time. So like if a new shiny sock yarn comes into my life, which they do every month, how am I supposed to say no to that? which is why I have a million half-finished socks. But all right, I'm gonna go from order of easily reachable to least reachable because I might have to pause this. So we'll start with the most accessible in my reach, which is my sweater number 9 light, and I'm making this out of Woolberry Fiber Company in the color Alpine, which is from the winter sweater box. I don't know where the front is. I think this is the front. So I've got the body's done. I just need to do the bind off, which it's 2x2 Italian sewn bind off, and I don't know if I said my favorite thing's knitwear, and she does her 2x2 bind off slightly different than what I've done before. I'm gonna follow the pattern because I don't love the like switch them around method. So I was gonna do her method, but I was a little tipsy when I was doing it and I kept messing it up. So I just decided we're gonna pause on that, try it again another day when you have your full brain capacity to think about what you're doing and like get the rhythm down. So I will show you from the top, I guess. So I believe we started with the ribbing on this. So there was no picking up stitches for the turtleneck, but this is the turtleneck. It is, I think, 4 centimeters, maybe 6 or 8 centimeters of ribbing. And then just like sweater number 9, the original, there is this really pretty raglan with kind of rib detail on it, which carries down all the way to the armpit. And then it's just standard stockinette the whole way through. I did do helical knitting with this, so there aren't too many spots, I don't think, where it pools a ton, which is nice. The middle kind of was a little bit more speckly than the bottom, but that's fine with me. This is the back. So I just need to do the sleeves, and I'm making a size either 2 or 3. I want to say size 3. 4mm needles, and I think that's it. Oh, and the base that I'm using for this is, it's Berry Cashmere DK. It's the cashmere, it's Bethany's cashmere base. This is what it looks like skeined up. This particular skein was a lot less speckled than some of the other ones I had, but here's what it looks like skeined up. Oh, sorry, this was a travel skein, so it's been through some stuff. It's seen some shit, you might say. But yeah, you can see there's gorgeous, like really, really dark midnighty blue speckles. There's brown, ochre ones, and then tealy green. So it's gorgeous. I love it. And it is Alpine, confirmed. Next is another favorite. Oh God. Next we have another My Favorite Things knitwear sweater. This is sweater number 18, which I am making for my mom. And it's a little uggo at the moment because it doesn't have a neck, but this is how it looks so far. And I am knitting this out of BC Garn Samia Melange in the color, I believe it's 9. It's balled up right now, which I got in Edinburgh when we were with my mom at Ginger Twist. And I'm holding it with Issair Mohair in the color 41, which I got from, where did I get this from? I think I got this from Rosa Pomar, potentially. Either Rosa Pomar or Brugstrik in Copenhagen. Can't remember which, but I want to say Rosa Pomar. And I am making her, I don't know what size I'm making her, but I am making it longer than the pattern. So the pattern, I believe, was to end after this set of ribbing and start the bottom ribbing. I'm doing it another 2-ish inches, so it's 14 inches total from her armpit to the bottom of the hem. So I have about like ½ an inch more to do, and then I will be doing the ribbing. I'm using recommended needle size. I didn't gauge swatch, so whatever it is, it will be. And I'm currently knitting on 5mm needles, which really hurt my hands. So don't love that. I think 5mm is my ouch moment of needles, which is unfortunate, but I feel like maybe if I knit more with 5mm needles, it'll be better. However, so far, not yet. But it's mainly with purling, so I don't know if it's just how I hold, like how tightly I hold my left hand when I purl, but mainly purling, I've noticed, is where the ouchies come from. So I think it's gotta be purling, because my terrazzo sweater hasn't been too bad with that. But yeah, so we have this. I think I'm going to try and finish this today for the body today. So I just have sleeves and the neck to do, and maybe just do the neck real quick before I start the sleeves, so I can finish, so I can have my needles back to do the sleeves for this. Because the next thing I will talk about is my terrazzo sweater. Knitting it exactly how Petite Knit of Noro Silk Garden Garden Sock Solo, and 1 strand of Issair mohair in the color, okay, the Noro is in her original color, which is S1. It has a real name, which if I remember I will put it on the screen, but it has a real name as well. And the mohair is Issair mohair, the color 6, which I think is like ballet tights or ballet pink or something like that. And so far, again, I still have to do the neck on this one, but I have a sleeve done. I am on the ribbing of the bottom, and I am knitting the other sleeve right now. So I'm just knitting the other sleeve first, just so I can finish the sleeves, and I don't have to deal with like all of the fabric of knitting sleeves and the body being done. Typically that's how I like to make sweaters, is like knit the body, if it's bottom or it's top down, knit the body until I run out of one or both of the skeins that I'm holding, and then I will do the sleeves, and then I'll go back to the body, just because it's easier. It doesn't have as much weight and stuff when you're knitting around and on the sleeves, because it doesn't get as like tangled and twisted, which I like. I didn't do that for the sweater number 9 light because I was helical knitting, so I was always like halfway through a skein, so I figured I would just go all the way through and then do the sleeves. I'm really hoping that heater is not too loud. It's too late now. But this is, I'll give you a close-up. There is one very different color, which is that brown stripe. I hope it's on camera right now. Let's see, yeah. In it, but I think it's fun. It's like very cozy, eclectic looking sweater, which I love. And so far, all of the skeins I've used have been different. Like, I don't know if they've been different lots, but they've definitely been different colors. So the first skein went to, I think, right before the brown stripe. And then the brown stripe was the second skein. And that went a little bit into the arm. And then the arm was start of another skein. I think it started around here was the next skein. So this was another skein, which is what I'm currently working with for the other arm. So it's been very fun. I think when I do the neck, I need to kind of do some recon to see what colors are coming up, so that I can maybe prepare for what colors I can get to be on the outside of the turtleneck other than the inside of the turtleneck, because I don't want like my favorite one to be on the inside, because I mean, it's not like I wouldn't wear it, but I'd rather it be on the outside than the inside. But I can't decide which has been my favorite color so far. I think probably these like really bright blue pops are fun. And right at the bottom of the sleeve, it turned green, which I like. I love this whole ribbing section. I think that would have been so cool to have in the body where it would have been bigger, but I think this is my favorite section so far. And what else? I think that's it. I'm knitting this with the same needles that Petite Knit recommends, so 5mm for the body, I think 4.5 for the ribbing on the sleeves and the hem, and then the turtleneck is a 4mm needle, I want to say. So almost like pretty much exactly the pattern. Typically with Petite Knit stuff for myself, I just follow her pattern exactly, because I don't really care if it's like overly cropped or anything. I trust her. When I make my mom sweaters, I usually have to lengthen them a little bit, but I'm a short torsoed gal, so it doesn't really affect me as much. And then the last work in progress that I have to show is very exciting. So I know I briefly spoke about doing something like this in my winter knitting plans video, but I did not talk about this pattern because this pattern was not out yet, and the pattern came out like, I don't even know, 2 weeks ago, maybe less than 2 weeks ago, and I'm obsessed with it. I saw the pattern originally come across like my explore page on Instagram and immediately followed the designer. And I think the picture she showed was like a sneak peek. She had a tester call, which I did not sign up for, which is totally fine. And then the pattern came out like I said, like 2 weeks ago. And since I followed her, I saw that it was available, and it's amazing. So this is the little crystals pattern by Celine Phaeton, who I believe is Scandinavian. I can't remember what Scandinavian she is, but like, can we just all, like, how stunning is this? Let me see if I can find the picture that like got me. This pattern is 10 sizes from, so I can show the sizing chart, right? Yeah. Like, she did such a good job with this pattern. It is like, it's amazing. So every size is color coordinated throughout the pattern with a different highlight. So you don't have to remember which number where you are in the sequence. You can just remember the color, which I think is incredible. And then she has all of these measurements for all the different bust sizes, arm lengths, etc. So if you want to change anything, you can, which is awesome. And then she also has short rows for bust shaping, and I think something else too. And like, she'll give you the calculation for like if you should do bust shaping based off of, I think it's the difference between your upper chest and your lower chest. It's incredible. But I've been loving this pattern so far, and this pattern I'm making out of the La Bien Amie that I had, that I said I wanted to make a colorwork sweater with. I'm making size 3 in this, by the way, and knitting almost to pattern. So I'm knitting this out of, ooh, am I gonna remember the names? Okay, this is Flora Morganite in Wensley Worsted by La Bien Amie, and I believe this is Avione, A-V-I-O-N-E. I don't know if there's accents on any of these, because I got 2 grayish colors from La Bien Amie last February when she was here, and I can't remember if it's Bone or Avione. I think it's Avione. I also don't know if I'm saying that correctly or if I've said it 3 different ways so far, but it's one of those. I'm pretty sure it's Avione. So this is it. It's like a warm gray neutral, I would say. And the pattern calls for, I think, 5 skeins of the DK, the main color, and 2 or 3 of the contrast. Yeah, 5 of the main, 2 of the contrast in the size I'm making. So I'm going to have a ton of Flora Morganite left over, which, depending, I may be able, like my sister or someone, I could do like a reverse, because I don't know if I can handle a full sweater in Flora Morganite as the main color. That seems like a commitment and a half, but I will show you where we're at so far. There's a million ends, so let me just shove them all inside so it doesn't look as uggo, because it's a gorgeous pattern. I will say, this is my first time, I think, knitting colorwork flat for this long. I had to do it a little bit on the Marius for my dad for like 5 or 6 rows. There's a lot more knitting flat in this. So that was interesting, and it was a little bit of an adjustment I had to make with my tension. And I think also because this is on such large needles, the colorwork needle is a size 5, the stockinette needle is a 4.5, and then the ribbing's 4 millimeter. So again, I'm not overly comfortable with working with 5 millimeter needles, which I think is part of it. So my tension was a little bit off when I was knitting flat. So I wound up knitting 5 millimeters across on the right side, and then I went down to 4.5 millimeters on the wrong side, on the purling side, because my purling tension was very loose. And it fixed it a little bit. It was, you can't really tell as much in this top section, but then like, oh, actually it doesn't look so bad on camera. I think it's gonna block out for the most part, but it was tough. Like real rough looking for a while. And like the crossy section, like right here. I don't know if any of that's coming out, but let me show you the front. It's very nice. This pattern doesn't really require any catching floats. Stand up to show. So I am past the snowflake motif, and I'm just getting into the lace for the main part of the body. So I am just right there. So I'm just gonna be doing like the lace or the fleas, whatever they're called, for a few inches, and then the bottom part of the chart. But this is how it's looking so far. And it is like, it's getting so blown out. Maybe it's not getting blown out, but the overhead lighting plus ring lighting, because winter, it's so bright. I love it so much. Like, oh, it's gonna be so fun. And like, oh my God, I can't wait. I love this pattern, and I love that I get to knit a pattern from a designer I've never knit from before, that I just happened to find on Instagram. And like, oh, my heart, I love this. I need this in like standard colors too, like the white and blue pattern or like sample she has. Stunning. That's the original one I saw. It was just like the shoulder shot, and I was like, need. So I have a feeling this will get made again, maybe in Newton or something similar. We'll see, but love this. I think this is, after I finish my mom's body on her sweater, I think this is gonna get picked up to get a little bit more work on it, because it's addicting, and it's like filling all of my color work hopes and dreams. So I haven't really worked on color work since I finished my dad's sweater, so it's been very nice. And then, okay, I think that is it for works in progress, which is absurd because I've been talking for 40 minutes, but I have acquisitions to show next. And I think then it's everything, because I need to stop and like go knit again and start reading. So let's quickly go through acquisitions. I already touched on the Regia I got in Austria. So I will go in order of what's on this pile. So I have 2 new socks. Oh, there goes one sock set. 2 new sock sets from Woolberry. These were collective skeins. So first is Sugar Cookie, which was the November collective set. So Sugar Cookie is this main speckled gorgeousness. Please focus. No, yes, hello. There we go. And then this really pretty, like warm, neutral brown. Again, let's not focus on anything but the yarn. Okay. And then the other skein I got, this was December collective, I think, is Winter Chai. So it's so pretty. Like, it's so stunning. Ugh. And then the mini is this gorgeous, like, light blue. I don't want to say periwinkle, but like perfect light blue. Like, it's actually really similar to my mom's sweater, but it's so good. So these came. Next is, oh God, okay. My Homespun House, what were you? November Patreon yarns. So this is Comfort and Joy sock set. And I don't know if you can tell, but the mini does have stellina in it, which is so fun. And I'm pretty sure this is juniper. So the same green that I'm knitting these socks out of, I want to say. Looks pretty similar, yeah. And then Comfort and Joy, which is really pretty, like moody, greeny, Christmas colored yarn. Honestly, I think this is like classic, like aesthetic Christmas tree, but like not like one color, like it's fun color Christmas tree. Like that is gonna look so pretty. Like I think it's just gonna knit up like Christmas, like little lights on a Christmas tree or baubles. So I think this is gonna get stashed until next year for Christmas time to get me in the mood. And then the minis for November were these 3 minis. So from here over, this is beetroot. The green is matcha, which is like the perfect Grinchy green. And then this is Farmhouse Christmas. So this is the sock that I'm knitting right now, just in normal superwash merino. So this is what it looks like, all minified. So these will go into my blanket eventually. And I think the blanket might be at its most for yarn. It's not nearly caught up. I'm like a year and a half behind on the crocheting, but I think that I'm gonna start a new blanket for 2024 minis and do maybe a cozy comfort throw. I don't know. I'm gonna do something different, I think. Maybe granny squares, like do a granny square for every month, like do the 3 minis as a granny square. We'll see. But I'm thinking the granny stripe is coming to an end soon. We'll see. But there's a lot of minis to put into it, so it may still need some, but based off the math, we're real close. So that is that. Next is my Sorella yarn. So I ordered from the Gilmore Girls collection. There's a lot of it. There's more than this, but this is what I pulled out. So I got a sock set for myself, Selena's sock set, and this is the Stars Hollow sock set. So the main color is Stars Hollow, and then I think the mini is Luke's Coffee, or coffee, some sort of, it's coffee colored. So I'm gonna go with it's coffee. And it's stellina, and the stellina, it's not getting picked up on this, but her stellina is so good. So that's gonna be socks for me. Next, I got GK stellina in Emily Gilmore, and this is gonna be for my mom in socks. Wow. Oh yeah, you can see the stellina on that. Like, it's probably because it's a dark color, duh. But it is like a slightly variegated. I think it's gonna work up to be like a little stripey socks for her. And then I got one skein of the in Omnia Paredes in Cashmere DK. I think I got this to make socks for my dad. Just gorgeous royal blue. And then I am all in Cashmere DK. Again, gorgeous light blue. Again, I can't remember why I got this. I think for socks. I think the thought process was main color, contrast color for my dad. And then I got 2 skeins of Chilton in classic DK. So this is gonna be stripey. Let me put this down a little bit so you can see. So it's got the I'm All In. I think I'm All In was its pair for the tonals. And it also goes so well with an Omnia Paredes. So I got 2 skeins of this, and I'm not quite sure why I got 2 skeins of it. I'm sure there was a plan, but I can't remember what the plan was at all. So 2 skeins. Maybe socks for me, socks for my mom. I don't know. We'll have to think on this one. And then I got, how many skeins of this? 2, 4, 6, 8 or 9 skeins of Am I Laughing or Crying, which is the Suki colorway, which is this really pretty burgundy. And I'm going to make the, shoot, what's it called? Can't remember. Hands home something. The petite knit men's raglan sweater for my dad. So he requested burgundy, so he's gonna get burgundy. And I think this is gonna be the next sweater I cast on after I start casting off some of this whole pile. Particularly the sweater number 9 light, because I think that I'm gonna need 4mm needles for this. So I can maybe get him another sweater before the season's over. He needs another sweater. So, and I was a little worried when I got this that it was like a little too girly colored, because in the bag and stuff it looked purpley, but looking at it right now it's like a bricky red, so I think it'll be fine. So yeah, this will be a sweater for my dad. And then finally, and maybe the most exciting, is I got some knitted in. So I got this, I got the what is it called? Solstice update yarn, and I got 800 grams of Morker, which is the stunning, this is not going to even do it justice, but it's already had a bit taken out of it because I was messing around with what pattern to make, but it's like the most stunning dark blacky brown in the world. And I like the way Nudiden smells, should be illegal. Like it's, oh my god, I love this. So I'm going to make something out of this. I was originally thinking a yun sweater or something similar, maybe a tulip. I just want like, oh my god, it's so nice. I can't wait to make something out of this. I need to do it double-stranded because I'm still not very expert at the Nudiden life, so I need to have it at least double. But I have 800 grams, so I think I have more than enough to do a sweater. And then I'm thinking either the Sandnes Garn vest that's like open on the side, or the new petite knit vest that's open on the side. Something like that I think would be so pretty, because that color is just like goals for a black for me. Like it's not like black, but it's like, this is it balled up. It's just so, so pretty. So this is also going to be high on the priority to knit list, I think, once all of that chaos is dealt with. So I've been mildly stalking Carmen and Jackie from Knitting a Good Yarn, just to like, not stalking, but like going back and like looking at their suggestions for Nudiden, just because I feel like they're the Nudiden queens. Like I know they're not, but I feel like they are. So hopefully I decide on something soon for that, because that needs to get knit immediately once I have a few less whips, because I'm feeling a little whip fatigued at the moment. Like I feel like I need to try and stick to like only 1 or 2 sweaters at a time and only 1 or 2 socks at a time, because I've got a lot of whips, and like I still have my tessellated I need to get done. I still have my Monday sweater, and I have my Miles shirt jacket, are all whips that were started last year that have not been touched this year yet. So I need to stop casting things on and start finishing things. But that is it for me today. I feel like I've talked long enough. I'm gonna try and shorten this down a little bit so no one has to sit through almost an hour of me talking. But I hope you're all well. I hope you enjoyed watching me. I'm sorry for the long break. Hopefully the next break will not be nearly as long. I'm shooting to do every like 2 weeks or so, especially during busy season, because I don't think I'm gonna have it in my mental capacity to do every week. And hopefully some of these sweaters start getting finished real soon so I can start wearing them and not repeating my sweaters all the time. And yeah, I hope you have an awesome day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.